Welcome back, everyone. And if you're new here, welcome. Where have you been? We've been waiting for you. For those watching now and all those who will find this in the future, this series is about something profound, the emergence of a new collective consciousness. And whether you realize it or not, you are on the cutting edge of that wave. This is John's Tarot, the Soul Awakening series. I've developed a set of tools to support you in your awakening. One of those tools is the tarot, not for fortune telling, but as a mirror of the inner psyche, a way to access what lies beneath the surface. Today we're diving into shadow work. This is episode 4. If you're in a 12-step program, you already have steps 4 through 7 to guide your inner house cleaning. Think of what we do here today as complementary, additional tools to deepen your awareness. For the rest of you, these practices are simple, accessible, and profoundly transformational. They are invitations to know yourself more honestly and more compassionately. And as always, this podcast is not therapy, not medical advice. This is psychological and spiritual education grounded in Jungian thought, real lived experience, and the symbolic lens of the tarot. So sit back and enjoy today's episode on working with the shadow. Working with the shadow is an essential part of the process of Jung's process of spiritual awakening. And that is what this has been focused on. So enjoy, sit back and enjoy. And as always, I'll give you a little tarot reading on how to do a little shadow work. And this isn't just for people in recovery. This is for everybody taking this journey. There is a profound awakening that's taking place, but it's only happening in a small element it's only happening in a small element of the population. If you are viewing this, you are part of that cutting edge, that small element of the population. So enjoy today's podcast. Okay, I'll see you at the end of the little presentation, and we'll do a little tarot reading. Welcome to John's Tarot. Today, we explore one of the most essential and misunderstood parts of the individuation journey, shadow work. Not darkness, not evil, but the hidden parts of ourselves we have rejected, denied, or forgotten. In this episode, we'll look at how the tarot reveals shadow, how Jung understood shadow, and how learning to meet this part of yourself becomes a gateway to healing and authenticity. Section 1. What is the shadow? In Jungian psychology, the shadow is everything the ego does not want to see. Our anger, fear, guilt, shame, desires, wounds, and potential, not because it's bad, but because it didn't fit who we thought we had to be. The shadow is the part of us shaped by childhood conditioning, cultural expectations, trauma, survival roles, and the masks we learn to wear. Shadow work is not about fixing yourself. It's about reclaiming yourself. Section 2. Why shadow work is necessary. When we ignore the shadow, it doesn't disappear. It leaks out in cravings, anger, projections, addictions, repeated patterns, unexplained reactions. And when the shadow is brought into light, it becomes strength, compassion, insight, and humility. This is why Jung said, there is no consciousness without pain. Because bringing the shadow to light requires courage, but it gives your soul room to breathe. Section 3. How the tarot reveals the shadow. The tarot is one of the most honest mirrors of the psyche. It does not lie. It does not flatter. It reflects truth, including the shadow. Cards commonly associated with shadow work. The moon, fear, illusion, avoidance, shows where we're confused or deceiving ourselves. The devil, attachments, addiction, Compulsion reveals where we feel trapped and why. The Tower, ego collapse, sudden awakening, shows where false structures must fall. Seven of Swords, self-deceptions, secrets, indicates patterns we hide from ourselves. Five of Cups, unprocessed grief, where loss or pain still drives our choices. Strength, reclaiming inner power, learning to work with the shadow, not against it. When these cards appear, they are not warnings, they are invitations. Section 4. How shadow appears in readings. The shadow can show up in readings through uncomfortable cards, repeated cards, strong emotional reactions, symbols that disturb or confuse you, themes you avoid addressing, denial or resistance. When a reading feels off or too close, that is the shadow speaking. Tarot is not judging you. Tarot is inviting you to look deeper. Section 5. The Shadow Work Tarot Spread. This tarot spread is dealt in a 5-card descending layout. Card 1, the Mask, what I show the world. Card 2, the Hidden Wound, what I'm protecting. Card 3, the Illusion, what I tell myself. Card 4, the Shadow, what I avoid or deny. Card 5, the Integration, how I bring this into wholeness. This spread is powerful. Use it when you're ready to listen without fear and without judgment, because the shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you waiting to come home. Section 6. How to work safely with the shadow. When doing shadow work, remember, go slow, stay grounded, don't do it when you're exhausted, seek support when needed. Be gentle with yourself. You do not face the shadow alone. Your inner wisdom walks with you. The shadow is not a monster. It is a wounded part of you asking to be seen. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of shadow work and the tarot. This journey is not always easy, but it is one of the most rewarding parts of individuation and a vital step towards inner freedom. If this episode resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share, and join me next time as we continue our Soul Awakening series. I hope you enjoyed the little presentation, and I hope it's helpful in guiding you in your shadow work. That is an essential part of waking up. The future episodes have to do with the persona, going beyond the persona, the animus and the anima, and then I go into awakening. So I hope you enjoy and are benefited by this journey you're taking on John's Tarot. It's something a little different for tarot readers. My ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love, and I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. So I am going to demonstrate the shadow work spread, which I demonstrated in the video. And so for the shadow work spread, what kind of shadow work was I doing back when I was in the early stages of awakening? And I'll just cut the deck. And our first card, the Mask, what I show the world. For me, it was the Fool. That I didn't care, and that I was on a jolly journey. That was the mask I used to show the world. That I was the embodying the archetype of the Fool, and that I had no worries about tomorrow, and that was a mask that I showed the world at that time. The second card, the Hidden Wound, what I am protecting, or certainly what I was protecting. What I was protecting, the Two of Pentacles, was that I had a lot of things going on, and I didn't want to show the world. I had the things beneath the surface, and I had the things that were happening on the surface. I I was in a failing life. I was, involved in addiction, and beneath the surface, I had unresolved grief and unresolved wounds related to childhood. And those were the things I was, and I'm balancing it too, trying to hide it and try to hide it all, that everything was just fine. Everything was just perfect. I'm doing great. I wasn't doing great. I wasn't doing perfect at the time. The illusion, what I told myself. The Ace of Pentacles. What I told myself was that, I had everything I needed. I had everything I wanted. But the truth was, during that period of time, the illusion was that I was a house painter at the time. Now I'm an ICU nurse looking into retirement. But what I was telling myself at the time, I thought this would go on forever. I thought my financial situation was actually terrible. Because I would spend all my money I was making as a house painter as quick as I got it. I was spending it on the things I was doing. And that was the illusion, when I told myself that I was in control of my finances. I was in control of what was happening in my life. Truly, I was not. That was the illusion. The shadow, what I avoided or denied. I avoided or denied the problem, that I had some serious issues. Then this is the Six of Swords, that I had some serious issues that I was ignoring. I wasn't paying attention to. And that I could resolve my issues all by myself. That was the shadow, what I avoided or denied. The fact was, I did not have the power to independently overcome these issues. These issues were more powerful than I was, and I had to seek some outside help. Reposition this a little bit. And then the final one, the integration, how I bring this into wholeness. The King of Cups. I'll move it here so you can see it. The King of Cups has to do with being the master of emotional integrity. How I brought that into wholeness, the integration was, I cleaned up my act. I got involved with a 12-step organization. I was involved in some spiritual practices. At that time, it was Buddhism. And those things, and I had the I Ching. And how I brought that, all those things is what helped me bring it into wholeness, and how I integrated it into a whole. And it was a process. It wasn't a one-step deal. It was a process that took years. That I worked on it for years. So the first part of that process the first was for me that Buddhism had to do with spirituality and contacting that inner part of myself that was connected to the universe. And then I had the synchronicity of the I Ching that found me and helped guide me. And then which led me into, the 12-step thing. And I had to take an honest appraisal of what was going on with myself. And in that honest appraisal, I had to do some shadow work. Not only, and I had to be sober in order to do that honest appraisal. So I was sober. by the time I did my 4 through 7, I was almost a year sober. I was so spun out. And that's what I did steps 4 through 7, 4, I took an honest appraisal, honest inventory. 5, I talked to my then time sponsor. And then the 6 and 7 are integration steps. And that's how I did it. This is an essential part of the awakening process. You do not have to be in recovery to do that. And that's why I provided this simple way of taking a little personal inventory of what's going on within you. This is just an opening. The process may take you some time as you take a deeper look on what's going on inside of you. So for this week, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I don't have any sound effects for this week. Be careful, be cool, be kind. Remember, have courage, find faith, and I will see you next week. On my podcast next week, I'm going to talk about how to balance, how to be awake in a world that is not awake. How do you find balance in that type of world? So that'll be my podcast for this week. So I'll see you all on Tuesday when I do the podcast. Okay, have a great week. All right, bye-bye.